So now I'll talk specifically about HDS. So at HDS, their biggest challenge was that they have 300 stores, 75,000 SKUs, and each store was, they were using a store-centric replenishment model. So it became quite challenging for HDS and resulted in a lot of overstocks and understocks, and it ends up being markdowns, which ultimately cost the company money. So this HDS did a quite in-depth study of about 4 different products and ended up choosing TXT Perform 2008 because of its flexibility, the ease of use, and the rapid implementation. So there we actually implemented TXT for replenishment in less than, I'd say, 10 weeks, and part of the timeline was actually driven by their ERP system. The solution provided the better functionality, so all the other tools that were evaluated, again, we would have had to train them on individual tools. HDS users were familiar already with Excel and were able to interact with the data. And one of the key drivers is the single version of the truth, right? It's great that everybody has access to data, but if you don't have the same data as your coworker beside you, it doesn't really bring any benefits to the company. So from an HDS perspective, and they've already started realizing some of these benefits, but from an IT perspective, the total cost of ownership, they expect to save $1 million. They're going to increase product availability, improve their margins by 2.5%, and then have a significant reduction in the number of catalog items. So one of the challenges that one of the main challenges that they had is in the merchandising group, every store was able to order every SKU, whether it was cost-effective or not, and TXT now brings that data up to senior management level so they can evaluate which SKUs make sense. Okay?
Okay, thanks, Val. Yeah, and I just wanted to even, jump on and elaborate on what Valerie is saying about the ease of use, because it's something that we truly have seen in the market. One of the things that I've observed is that there's a lot of different technologies out there that people are using to do sophisticated modeling and these types of things, and they work, but we find oftentimes that they'll use one tool to run a replenishment model and do some of this type of work, but then what they end up doing is exporting it or importing into something they're more familiar with in Excel, and that's really a huge differentiator for TXT in that the solution is all, it's built in, it's a Microsoft solution. It looks and behaves like Microsoft. It's based in Excel, so you don't have to really have to work between the two different solutions. So it's something that we noticed to be a significant value when we started, really getting deeper into the TXT product. So certainly for those of you out there that are heavy users of Excel to do this kind of thing, this is a solution that you would certainly have a very quick learning curve on in terms of going with the solution. So with that, I believe we're pretty much at the end of our demonstration. Again, this was just intended to give you kind of a snapshot into who Ideaca is, who TXT is, what the power of the solution is, a quick case study. Certainly there's many more. Again, TXT have a huge presence in the retail marketplace, and we'd love to talk to you more about what your companies are doing, some of the challenges you're having, and see if there's potentially a fit for Ideaca and TXT to assist you in your objectives. So in terms of, again, the areas that, just as a recap, going to the final slide here, the areas that we're focused on is TXT, retail analytics, retail ERP, retail collaboration. If there's other initiatives that you have ongoing in any of those areas outside of what we've discussed today, certainly we'd love to talk to you about that. For more information, you can obviously go to our website. We have a whole section there on retail. We have a section specifically dedicated to TXT in retail replenishment, where there's actually a video there. You can see a client example, and it's a very good testimonial, so I encourage you to go and check that out on our website. And there's a wealth of information on our site as well. So if anyone has any questions at this point in time, we can open it up and go from there.
Well, I believe there's been just maybe 2 or 3 just kind of put over the chat in the last half hour. And the first was just around, I guess it would be around user experience for TXT, just around how it may empower individuals using it.
So because TXT is an integrated solution, it really does provide that unique and simple user experience. And because of the workflows, so each user knows their role in each step of the process, and that's one of the biggest challenges. Especially, if you look at ERP systems, it's very complicated, and people really know their own silos. TXT actually helps you cross those departmental boundaries and make sure that every user's job is at every step of the process is supported.
Okay, and just another question that I saw had popped up, just around how we had mentioned productivity gains, and someone was just wondering if we could dig into that just a little bit here.
Well, I think the productivity is really, the gains you're going to get around that really is around the single version of the truth. I've worked in many supply chain operations, and one guy in replenishment is working off his spreadsheet and thinks he needs, X amount of product at a certain store, and then you actually go to the store and they actually, they either don't have room on the shelf or they don't have any of the product because the sales didn't flow back to the replenishment person.
Okay. All right. The third one that I see here was just around decision making and what can someone expect from that perspective for the more senior managers.
So around decision making, I think it really does provide you the granularity in your analytics, and you know that it's data that's trusted. It's not somebody that's exported it from an ERP system, manipulated it to make sure that it matches the measures that the KPIs that they're being measured on. It really is the single version of the truth, and it does support the confident decision making at all levels because everybody is looking at the same information. In retail supply chains today, you really have to be proactive. I think knee-jerk reactions in firefighting are a thing of the past, and if you're still doing those, then you have some challenges in your organization.
Okay. And now, with regards to integration of the solution, I guess maybe from I'm not sure the exact depth of this, but whether from a technological or process view, if you could give a bit more details to that.
So TXT, because of its very nature and it's performance-based or performance point-based, in previous versions anyway, there is a web-based API, and it is fairly simple to do integration between TXT and any line of business application. Because the data is actually manipulated in performance points, the definition of, maybe Arvind, you can kind of help on.
Yeah, so the definitions are all in performance point, but they're obviously in an analytical cube so that they're rendered through Excel, and you can interact with your hierarchies and the granularity of the facts through Excel via pivot tables.
And I think aggregation of the data, dependent on the level of the person that's viewing the data, is one of the key benefits.
Okay. No, it seems that that's just about all the questions that we had come up that are answered. So short of any others, we'll just hold on for a few seconds just to make sure there aren't any others. Again, always do feel free to reach out through the chat. Yeah, having said that, I guess that concludes our webinar for today. But
we want to thank you for attending, and believe we'll be sending the deck out to all participants today.
Mhm.
So you expect to see an email from Jamie.
Yep, and my intention is to have a recording, video recording of this webinar available probably within the week. Again, I'll send a note about it, and it'll be available on Ideaca.com. So if you need to kind of revisit one of these discussion points, it'll be available there.
Thank you for attending.
Okay.
Yep. Have a great afternoon.
Thanks very much.
Thanks.